Hello everyone, and welcome to another Ever Crisis tier list. Today we're going to be going over the last of the initial 9 characters, LUCIA. I think LUCIA is one of the most underrated characters that are in the game right now. The things that she does well, she actually does pretty damn well. So let's get this tier list started to see what those things are. At the start of every tier list, we have our usual disclaimer that these tier lists are my opinion, and they may be different than your opinion, and you know what? That's okay. This is a great place for us to have a discussion down in the comments below, whether you think I rated something too high, whether I rated something too low, and just trying to keep figuring out where everything should be. The rules and factors in which I rate everything is right over here. If you want to pause to read it, there you go. If not, let's get into the tier list for LUCIA. Starting us off is LUCIA's first weapon, the V39. We have a 370 physical non-elemental AoE damage that can crit. Okay, so it's okay. We got some physical AoE. Not too many characters have access to that. Or ETB. The boost attack and the fire resist, nothing crazy. Same with the ability. Nothing special on the materia. For me, it's cool. It's cool that we have an AoE physical move. We don't honestly have too many of those in the game. But for me, with the R abilities and just even the command ability, the C ability, for me, I think it's a C tier weapon. I don't think that the V39 is anything too crazy in terms of LUCIA. And it's you can make it work, but you should probably be equipping other things. In terms of the sub equipment, I'm definitely going to be putting this down into a meh. There's 16 of the just attack. Again, it's not HP, it's not heal, it's not physical or magical, and it's not a 24. So for that, I don't think the V39 really is just a good weapon. If you don't plan on building LUCIA at all, and you need her for first soldier, and this is the only thing that you have, like, you can level it up a little bit. I would not a chance I would take this to 80. We'd probably leave it at 70 and just let her do some damage in terms of the storyline. Now we're getting into the elemental territory for LUCIA. We have the pulse gun with a 270 magic wind AoE type damage. Okay, so boost attack, again, we're at the 24 now, so we're getting into something that's a little bit more useful. Wind potency, so it's going to boost itself. It's boost attack, so you're going to increase the physical attack of your auto attacks, plus the magic side of the actual Aeroga. In terms of the materia, it's got a sigil, so I love me some sigil. AoE, magic. The R abilities... For this one, for me, you can make this work. If you need this circle sigil, you got some AoE elemental. The elemental is nice. The boost attack. I've put a lot of other ones into. I think it's like a low A+ for her. Don't get me wrong. This is definitely not one of her better weapons, but it does wind in certain ones of the tower that we're going up against right now. You have those double rocks, the AoE wind, the boost attack. It's and the sigil. The sigil is what brings it up from an A to an A+ in my opinion. It's a decent main hand, but she's got some better ones. In terms of it being a R ability, in terms of it being a sub weapon, for me, I'm going to put it into okay. Clearly, I would prefer a physical attack or a magic attack, but since it is a 24 attack and wind potency, like, this would still be another good wind potency boosting sub weapon if you wanted to rock that. But if it was physical attack or magic attack or HP, I would probably have put that into a good tier. But for a pulse gun, I'm going to say if you're building around wind, and it doesn't matter whether you're going physical or magical with this, it's going to be useful. The Serpent Eater here now for LUCIA, I think that this is LUCIA's best weapon. Like, if you compare this to Cloud's current water sword banner, where his only does 400, this does 420. So this is like the motor drive for Tifa, where as this thing gets higher and higher, it's just going to get stronger and stronger. It already boosts its water potency. It boosts HP as well. Materia, nothing crazy on this side, but for me, for the Serpent Eater, like, this is going to rip Ramuh up. It's going to do good damage to Ramuh. For me, like, elemental, it's got that 420 HP. I think, like, let me know in the comments below whether you think that one of our other guns is going to be better, but for me, I think the Serpent Eater is probably one of the main reasons that people are going to be building LUCIA. This is going to be one of the main weapons that you're going to be using to, like, beat Ramuh or just anything else that is weak to water. Just that 420 is really, really nice. I know that its physical attack is lower than its magic attack, and this is just a very physical heavy weapon. I love the R abilities. I love a strong single target elemental. I wish the materia was a little bit bit better, but it's not the end of the world for Lucia for this specific situation. In terms of it as a sub-weapon, I'm going to put this into the good category. Again, I love elemental potency, and then just a 25 HP. You're always going to need HP, because if you're dead, then you're not doing DPS. So the fact that you can put this on any water weapon, either for Cloud if you're going to be rocking him with that sword, or just anyone else that is trying to do water damage, this will make for a really good sub-weapon. I don't know how many times on our list now that we've gone from best weapon to worst weapon, but for me, I think the tranquilizer gun is terrible. I think the tranquilizer gun is really, really bad. Nothing special on the materia side. Potion volley. If it was just this ability itself, but you could target your teammates, I would think that this weapon is really, 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 really good. Magic heal, massive, big, huge potency. Can only target herself. Removes potion and darkness. It's the same thing like with Tifa's weapon. Sure, the boost heal is nice. The ability potency, nothing crazy in terms of the ability potency, but the boost heal 24 is nice. But in terms of the weapon itself, nothing special in the materia. You can only target yourself. I hate self-target abilities. For me, tranquilizer gun, bad. By far Lucia's worst weapon. I think if there is a point in time where Lucia needs to fight something super crazy and it's just her, sure, maybe. But again, that seems like that is so few and far between that I cannot picture it. In terms of it as a sub-weapon though, I think it is perfectly okay. Chances are though, you should, if it's someone's worst weapon, unless it literally has like a 32 and it is the best stats in the goddamn world, I would not build this as a sub-weapon. But if you disagree with me and you choose to build it up, then you can definitely still make it work, as a 24 is still perfectly fine as a sub-weapon. So I don't want to hurt it as a sub-weapon because it's still fine. But in terms of a main weapon, no, you can't get me with self-target abilities. It's just, I don't think that it really has a place in this game, unless it is like Zac, where all of his storyline is basically him by himself. And even then, just most of the fights, you're not gonna, it's not going to be the case. With the SSR 1976, I love a good AoE, okay? So it's the opposite, it's the exact opposite of what we just went through with the tranquilizer gun, where she can only target herself. Now she targets everyone, okay? It comes with a magic defense to your entire team, with a little bit of a baby heal attached to it. I think it is, yeah, I think the SSR 1976, sorry. I think it's okay. It's nothing crazy. It's much better than her two weapons that I'm about to put below it. Our abilities, the 16, nothing big. Elemental potency, a 12. You love the 12s in terms of the lightning potency. Doesn't do anything for this. Absolutely doesn't do anything for this. But in terms of this weapon, I think it's okay. You can definitely make it work. If you need that magic defense to be able to survive, then I'm going to put it into a solid B. I think it is an okay weapon. Now, this one here is a sub-weapon. This can either go into good or okay. I love it. The lightning potency, any of the elemental potencies that have a plus 12 means that they're going to get a good modifier later on, the more that you overboost them. Okay, so just as it stands right now, again, we're not basing it off of overboost. This is still more than what you're going to get with a 9. So I'm going to put it as a low good because I love HP. And then a 12 potency, it's going to do a lot in terms of your damage. You can go either way. I still think it is a good sub-weapon. If I'm building my Murasama Cloud, like I like this weapon from a Murasama Cloud, so I'm gonna put it into good just because sub-abilities work for everyone. With Mad Minute, you could honestly make a case that this could also be her S tier weapon. Like any sort of debuffs, lowering magic or physical defense, or lowering physical or magic attack. Right now, like, I'm struggling on Shiva because I do not have a magic attacker. Between my Cloud, my Aerith, and my Zac, I don't have someone that can do magic attack down. So I would need a weapon like this. I would need my Lucia built up so I can start chipping away at those buffs so I could survive. For this, I'm gonna be putting it into A+, because I think that the water elemental one, like, as much as I think motor drive also has that 32 physical, that high elemental, that thing is gonna get crazy. That thing is gonna get crazy in the future. Like, this is stronger than Cloud's. Well, a little bit with the debuffs, a little bit with the R elementals, but it's still, you could make a case to switch these two. You could definitely make a case to switch these two if you really, really wanted to. In terms of it as an R ability, I think this could either go to a low okay or a high meh. Again, it has HP, the boost physical potency attached to it here. I'm gonna put it as a low good. Yeah, I will put it as like the the lower side. I think I need to maybe make a third set of tiers for down here. Once we start to redo the tier list, I'm gonna fix this up just a little bit. So I'm gonna add a bit more categories because sometimes it could be better than good and okay, and it's quite not as bad. But yeah, it'll have its place. There's a lot of other better options. With the black rifle here, it's a little bit different. It's kind of the same thing as organics for Cloud, where this is now a status effect. This is a status inducing weapon. We don't get too many of these. It gives silence. Most enemies that you fight in the game are usually immune to like stun, silence. There are some enemies though that are not immune. And there's just also, that one also had terrible R abilities, whereas this one has physical attack up. You're doing physical attack here. I still think crit potency, I still think it's useless, but in terms of it boosting your own physical attack, if the silence were to work, which in most cases it's not, I'll put this into B. No. I'll put this into C. So the fact that silence is, if it works with silence, put it up to an A tier, put it up to an A+ tier if you want. But chances are it's not going to work. The boost attack makes it just more usable than the organics, with it not being terrible. Also, the tranquilizer gun is bad. Nothing special on the materia. For the black rifle, I think it's like a solid C. I think it is... Is it better than the AoE? If it doesn't silence, it's better because it's just going to do a bit more damage unless you're hitting more things. It's hard. I'm still just going to leave it in C tier. In terms of it as a sub-weapon, I still love physical attack. I think critical potency is bad. I'm going to put it into meh because, again, it's not that 24. It's just the 16's too low. I don't know. The 16's too low. I like things to be a nice... I like to be a 24 or higher. If I really want to consider building it as a sub-tier list, like if it's a 24 physical plus an elemental boost on top of it, boop, or HP, that throws into the good section. But for this, like, black rifle, fine in C, can go up higher if it can actually silence any fights. Otherwise, it's at least going to do more than just purely only healing Lucia. The final pullable weapon for Lucia is the Barn Swallow. With the 420 physical, single target, boost magic attack, random with the 16, lightning resist, not that useful. Materia. This one does the double diamonds, or however you want to consider the upside. I usually just call this the diamond sigil. We don't get too many of these in the game, and just breaking sigils is really important. Being able, instead of wasting 9 ATB, because the lowest you can do is like a ruin or another single target that will still hit it. Like you can see over here in some materia that it's going to have a grayed out diamonds. So it still is going to hit the diamond sigil, but it's only going to hit for one. The fact that this has the red now, it's going to be like breaking in the X, the circle, and the triangle. So we don't get too many of these. Barrett is one, and I believe Glenn is the other one. So it's just one of 3 characters that can hit this. For those extremely, very, very, very specific scenarios, I'm going to put it into A. When you need the diamonds and all you have is this, it can be rated higher. Like if you just can't beat that phase transition and then the boss does some big AoE and you die, you're eventually, you probably need some diamond breaking sigils in the future. Some just, they're really tight and they can just take a load off you. Plus you can give her magic attack down. You can have her do big water damage. You can have her go magic defense up. There's a lot of options that you can do to still make her useful to your team. In terms of it being a sub weapon, the magic attack 16 and the lightning resist, again, it's not a 24. It's just, it's not a 24. And then the lightning resist, it's not going to help in terms of the damage. The lightning resist is so specific. The magic attack is just not high enough. So I don't think you're going to build this. You're building this purely to break diamonds, sigils, and that's it. For the last of Lucia's weapons, we have the Rifle of Levin, which is farmable through the Ramu summon quests. With the Rifle of Levin, it does 300 magic lightning damage, single target. So now we have a single target magic damage gun. In terms of materia, nothing special over here. Boost water resistance and boost attack up. In terms of the R abilities are nothing too crazy over here. Eventually, with this, with them being like opposite elements, I think maybe Leviathan will be the next summon that we get in the game. I'm interested to see where that's going to be. For the single target elemental, even though that it is magic, and that the fact that this gun is also farmable, that you can boost these stats up, I still like elemental damage. I like single target damage. It's just, this is going to be easy. This is one of the weapons that I can expect you to overboost once you can farm it, so it's going to be a lot stronger in comparison to everything else. Though if you're still just trying to do lightning damage and just getting those higher up materias is going to be a little bit harder to do. I think the Rifle of Levin's okay. I'm going to put it into like an A. I don't think the R abilities are enough. If the water resistance is not that good, I would put this into like a low A, a high B+. The gun is good if you need to do lightning damage. The stats aren't anything anything crazy in terms of its physical attack or magic attack. So I think it's like a low A. It's definitely below like these four. These four are by far Lucia's best guns. In terms of for a sub weapon, we currently don't need these stats right now. Don't get me wrong. When we're fighting, when Leviathan does come out, you're gonna maybe want that water resist and the boost attack up. It's only a +6, so it's extremely small. So I'm gonna put it into a meh or extremely situational. I think I'm going to change that. I think that's the next tier list. I think I'm gonna go like, I think I'm still gonna go like S and then switch it up and then have like a situational tier instead of just meh, and then like an actual like, this thing is dog. It's like, thing's bad. Thing is really, really bad. So this is more of a situational than it is a bad sub weapon. So that right there is where we're gonna leave Lucia's list for the time being, and that wraps up the initial 9 characters of Ever Crisis. If you think that something should be rated higher or lower, join that conversation down below. I try and respond to as many of the comments as I can because I love having a conversation with you guys, and especially just seeing where your mindsets are in terms of what you value compared to what I value in the game. If you're enjoying these tier lists or any of the Ever Crisis content that I'm going to be making, please don't forget to subscribe as it really helps the channel grow, and I know that I'm going to be able to reach you guys, and yeah. I also stream over at twitch.tv/longtimetwitch, link in the description down below. To everyone that is new that found me through Ever Crisis, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for the subs. Thank you very much for the comments. Thank you very much for being a part of the community. I greatly appreciate it. And for everyone that has been with me over these years through Opera Omnia, through War of the Visions, through First Soldier, thanks for staying along for the ride. We got some more Ever Crisis content coming out real soon, trying to go over some specific fights and some strategies, as well as categorizing the weapons into a little bit of some different categories. So look forward to that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.